been, hey, little articles, so-and-so, big names, getting divorced, getting divorced. And with me, it turns out to be like, 22 days of tabloids and covers, and it was
Why do you
ridiculous.
think?
I don't know. I mean, perhaps you can tell me. I was surprised. I really underestimated what this thing would be in terms of how it ended up.
Knowing that now, is there anything you could have done differently?
Probably not. I mean, the press puts an article on the front page, whether it's the New York Post or the Daily News or whatever newspaper it might be. And if it sells, and all of a sudden they notice that day they sold more newspapers, they're going to do it again, and they're going to do it again. The problem is, and I thought I knew a lot about the press. Nobody controls the press, and only a fool would say they do. But I thought I knew a lot. I thought I understood the press, and I really realized that I didn't. The press is very dishonest, Larry. I mean, they'll say things that, and I'm not talking in all instances, but I'm saying much of the press. I've been quoted in various articles where I never spoke to people. I mean, they just make up a quote. Donald Trump said this, and he said that. I never even spoke to the people. There was one tabloid that came out with a headline, and I had somebody call up on the headline to say it wasn't true. And they said, well, we knew it wasn't true, but we didn't, and the reason we didn't call Mr. Trump is that if we called him and he would have denied it, we would have been in worse shape than we are, even knowing it's not so. But we needed that headline.
They actually said that?
Yeah, they actually told that to a friend of mine who was close to the man who runs the paper. And I just couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe how dishonest they are.
Does this because they know you're not going to sue?
When people read the papers, I mean, I just hope they understand it. Well, suing is very difficult nowadays, Larry. I mean, with libel laws, you know that, I'm sure, as well as anybody in the world.
Especially in your position. You got to prove malicious intent.
Well, you really do. And I look at things, and I do watch, and I do look, because I'd love to grab some of these guys. I really would. I really want them to make a mistake, because I really would like to do it. Not because I'm a suer, but I would really love to be able to knock a couple of them out.
So how about a blatant lie, isn't it?
Well, I'm looking at things just to do it for the good of everybody. I mean, I watched Carol Burnett. I have great respect for the job she did. She went after the National Enquirer. She won. I had great respect for that. I don't know. Probably in the end, she paid more to the lawyers and she won. I don't know. But it was a great thing she did. She did a service.
Let's discuss why it wasn't just another story. Obviously, it had another woman involved, correct?
Well, they had a lot of other women involved. And it was so blatantly false, the way it was built up, whether it's Marla Maples or all of the others. I mean, I'll give you an example. Peggy Fleming. Peggy Fleming is a woman that ice skates at one of our hotels. I met her once or twice, and the worst part, she's married. There was never anything with Peggy Fleming. She's a wonderful woman. But they put Peggy Fleming and Catherine Oxenberg. Somebody said, they had Robin Givens, okay? Robin Givens. Only a madman would mess around with Robin Givens. I mean, Mike Tyson would not understand. You wouldn't be able to say, Mike, listen, Mike, I just want to take it easy. You'll understand. Don't worry about it, Mike. You'd have to be a madman.
But the Maples thing they ran with, and that was a relationship. Now, that also,
well,
by the way...
you don't know that it was a relationship, Larry. I mean, people think it was a relationship. And I don't talk about relationships. I don't talk about the personal aspects of it. And they go with lies to an extent that I've never seen before. They make up stories. And I'm amazed. I'm amazed that the press is allowed to get away with it, but they obviously do.
Okay, but when a story runs like that, you could have diffused it by coming forward and saying, I've had this relationship and it's continuing, I didn't have it.
The thing is, I don't talk about the personal. I've never had to talk about it before, and unfortunately, this situation, and I don't know when I say unfortunately, it is unfortunate because I say divorce is a negative, it's a bad thing. I don't like it. My parents are married for over 50 years. I don't like the concept of divorce. But sometimes it becomes necessary. Sometimes you just grow apart, and you do. I mean, that's the term. You grow apart. And a lot of people should be getting divorced. A lot of people should be doing it, but they don't do it because they don't make the move. I was just amazed at the inaccuracy of
also the amount of money involved, right? Wouldn't you say, if you were an editor of a paper, you're the editor, this is a story, isn't it? Big story?
Well, it's a story if it sells. In other words, when they put you on the headline and they sell more papers, then if I'm the editor, I guess I have to go with it again, until such day as it no longer sells. I mean, I came out the same day as Mandela, and nobody knew that Mandela existed, especially in New York, and that's unfortunate and unfair in many respects. It is crazy. It's ridiculous. But that was the exact same timing. And he's probably calling up, who is this guy? He blew me off the front page. But the fact is, what happened is just overreaction. It's overreaction.
Donald Trump's our guest. We've got lots to talk about, and we'll get into it right after this. endless, your forever story, right? You're a forever story. Okay.
I don't know why. You'll have to
Your
explain.
wife continues to run the Plaza Hotel. And a lot of people, and this is a fair question because a lot of people would say, when you break up, break up. Why does that continue?
I thought it would be a nice thing to do. I want to always remain friendly with Ivana. She's the mother of my 3 children. I love my 3 children. And I just thought it would be the appropriate thing to do. And it was a big decision. I mean, it was a decision that I made, and I was sitting with lawyers, and they said, Mr. Trump, you should get her right out. Boom, get her right out. I said, how do you do it on a human basis? I mean, she's there. She's running it. She goes to work. She tries. And how do I go over and say, Ivana, get out? And I don't think it's appropriate. I just didn't think it was nice. I mean, hey, look, I have the greatest hotel managers in the world that want to work for me. I had so many calls from hotel managers, the best, the head of this, the head of that, the head of the leading hotels in the world. And they all want to run in it, because that's the ultimate thing. I mean, whoever runs the Plaza Hotel, that's the ultimate thing. These are experienced people, tremendous talents. They're great. They're the best. And they all called. It was a sad, in a way, it's a sad commentary, because they see a little problem, and they all call looking for a job. But they all wanted to run the Plaza. I just thought it would not be a nice thing to take Ivana out of the Plaza.
Does she do a good job?
And she does a good job.
If she didn't, she'd be gone, right? I mean, you wouldn't have anyone.
If she didn't do a good job, she'd be gone. But again, management's an interesting thing. I mean, there are a lot of people that can manage. You understand that. I mean, I have a tremendous number of people. It's an interesting thing. Running the Plaza is very special. But it's easy to get people to run the Plaza. Ivana's done a good job. The advantage to having the Plaza is that everybody wants to do it. I mean, if you're in the hotel business and you're a hotel manager and you come from Switzerland or Austria or wherever you might come from, the ultimate hotel in the world to run is the Plaza Hotel in New York. So it's good and it's easy to get people to run it. But I thought it would be not nice to take Ivana out. She loves running it. She enjoys it. She's built up friendships. And she does a good job.
And with children, you're going to have a relationship all your life anyway, right? I mean, you're going to be talking to each other and seeing
I always want, I mean, I'd like to see something happen civilized. If this all goes as everybody anticipates it's going to go, I mean, I think it's very important. We have 3 magnificent children. I think it's very important that Ivana and I get along. I think it's very important.
Are you trying to avoid a contested divorce? Can you
Well, first of all, nobody's filed for divorce. I mean, she has not filed for divorce, as you perhaps know. I have a prenuptial agreement, and the prenuptial agreement is ironclad. It was done 4 times over a period of years.
You changed it?
We changed it. Yeah. I updated it, and she updated it, and she had her own lawyers, and she had all of the things that you're supposed to have. But more importantly than that, she's a competent businesswoman. She went out, and she looked at it, and she studied it, and she worked on it for months, and she signed it. Now, all of a sudden, she is contesting it. So that's really up to Ivana.
But since you haven't been served, you don't know that she's going to, or do you know she's going to?
Well, no, I mean, she said she doesn't want a divorce. I just want it to be a friendly situation, if possible. I don't know that that's possible. I mean, I've seen friends that get divorced, and they always say, I want it to be friendly, I want it to be friendly. You know, you see them 6 months later, and it's like cats and dogs, and you understand that. You've seen it 100 times.
Amicable. You want it to be amicable.
You've been there.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, you've been there.
Will you marry again?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I think marriage is an incredible institution. I think it's a great institution. I told you, my parents were married, have been married, are married.
You come from married stock.
Well, I come from married stock.
People stay married in the Trumps.
When you're talking about 50 years of marriage with my mother and father, that's a long time. And
your brother married a long time?
Robert is happily married, and my family is generally happily married. So I'm not one that loves the concept of divorce. In fact, just the opposite. I hate the concept of divorce. I hate everything it represents. There is nothing better than a good marriage. You know, you read the stuff that Trump wants to be out, he wants to be the ultimate playboy and all that crap. It's crap. There is nothing, because I've been there. When I got married at 31 years old, I know what both sides are. And I will tell you, there's nothing better for the few folks that might be watching.
If Miss Right comes along, you do it again.
Well, you never rule it out. I mean, you certainly wouldn't rule it out. I hate to even think of it right now, but you can't rule it out. Marriage is a great, great institution.
When it is labeled like that, what did it do, in your opinion, to the kids? How did they...
Well, I think the kids are great because the kids don't watch television. The kids don't read the daily news. The children are young enough that they don't read newspapers and they don't watch the news on television. So they don't see what's going on. They don't see all of the lies in many cases.
How about their friends at school?
Perhaps that happens a little bit, but I think they're really strong children, and I think they're very well-adjusted children. They're great children, and I give Ivana a lot of credit for that. They're great children, and I think they really have been sheltered very much from
In the area of money, I guess those who don't have a great deal of money would look at someone and say, well, why, if you got 50 million and someone wants 20 and you want to give 15, what's the big deal?
Well, I'll tell you what it is. First of all, there's a principle at work. You have a prenuptial agreement. A prenuptial agreement is an agreement. It's an assigned agreement by a sophisticated woman and a sophisticated man. These two people agree on something. Thousands of people throughout the United States sign these. They're traumatic to sign. I mean, you go up to your future wife and you say, by the way, darling, I love you, I love you, I love you, but just in case we happen to get divorced, I want you to sign this agreement. I'd like to recommend this. And you fight like cats and dogs, and as you know, many times relationships break over. So the reason that these are good is that you can settle things in friendly times.
So you're saying it's not the money, it's the...
There's a great principle at work. Thousands of people in New York, especially where they're totally honored, thousands of people in order to save the court. Can you imagine having all of these divorce actions without prenuptial agreements, especially in a place like New York? The courts would be overburdened. You wouldn't be able to take the work. You'd have trials that would last years in front of competent, capable judges. They wouldn't be able to do anything.
And the only thing that would throw them out is if you signed it with the intention to withhold, right?
No, but
it's a
very interesting thing. A friend of mine's the head of a major company, and he's been there. He's worked for 31 years. He said, you know, Donald, I was the best student in school. I was the best this, the best that. I went through this big company. I was always the best. Finally, I got to be chairman. I've been there 31 years. I never made $25 million. Interesting. $25 million is a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Homes in Connecticut, cash, $350,000 plus 300, so it's $650,000 a year. I mean, it's a very unfair, and the reason you do this is for certainty. You always want to have certainty over your life and over your business. You don't want it to happen.
Well, but you've made other business deals. Obviously, there's some anger here, right?
There's no anger. I don't have anger.
I mean, on her part.
Perhaps there's anger on her part. From what I understand, a lot of people sue on prenuptial agreements because they figure they have nothing to lose. The truth is they do. Ivana, as I heard, went through a lot of lawyers, and a lot of lawyers said, we won't take the case because there's no way you can win it. The prenuptial agreement is a perfectly drawn instrument. It's ironclad. A lot of lawyers have turned her down because they didn't want it, from what I hear. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but from what I hear, and she got one who's a friend of hers to take the case, and that's fine. That's fine. But a lot of people go, they have the prenuptial, perhaps they have anger, and then they sue on it because they figure, look, the minimum I'm going to get is what's in the agreement. You're never going to lose that. Yeah. So they bring the suit, and I think it's very unfair and unfortunate.
There's lots of other things to talk about. This incredible place, what Donald plans from here. What about the gambling industry itself and Atlantic City? This is Larry King Live. We're at the Taj Mahal. We'll be right back with Donald Trump. Don't go away. We're at the beautiful Taj Mahal in Atlantic City. This is an incredible hotel. It's a testimonial to you, and you had a lot to do with interior design as well, right?
Well, I got very much involved in every detail. I'm really happy with the way it turned out.
And we're in one of the suites on the 51st
That
floor.
is correct. That is correct.
Perverse. Why did the negative, we'd have to call it negative publicity, result in, as you said, quoted somewhere, increased business?
The negative publicity on the personal life.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, Larry. I mean, it is perverse. It's sick. The press, we had 2,400 press credentials to the opening of the Taj Mahal. It was covered all over the world. Istanbul, I mean, we're getting calls from Istanbul, Turkey, this, that. All over the world we're getting calls, 2,400. Now, when we originally conceived of this idea, and let's say 7 or 8 months ago when we started planning for the opening, we thought we might have 150 press credentials. With Tyson Spinks, which was one of the biggest fights of a 10-year period, we had 600 press credentials. That's a lot. For the opening of the Taj Mahal, we had 2,400 press credentials. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And you folks were there, and I mean, it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. And I don't know, the level of coverage of this building and why they covered it, I don't know. I would like to say because it was a great building, but I suspect they were looking for other things.
Because there was another angle. All right, but why would that put people to want to play the blackjack table here or check into the hotel here?
We've broken every record. You're seeing numbers that nobody's ever seen before. It's a great building. Again, I spent a lot of time. You know, promotion's a funny thing. You can promote and promote and promote, but if it's no good when people get here, it doesn't make any difference. When people come in and they see that the Taj Mahal is not what they had heard it is, or it's not, they're going to leave and they're never coming back. People love this building. They just love this building. As to why the other made it bigger, I guess it sort of speaks for itself, Larry, unfortunately. And it's too bad. Again, I spent a lot of time. You know, promotion's a funny thing. You can promote and promote and promote, but if it's no good when people get here, it doesn't make any difference. When people come in and they see that the Taj Mahal is not what they had heard it is, or it's not, they're going to leave and they're never coming back. People love this building. They just love this building. As to why the other made it bigger, I guess it sort of speaks for itself, Larry, unfortunately. And it's too bad.
What about the slot machine thing where they were down for a while?
The slots were so hot. Nobody's seen people play that hard and that fast. We have coin machines that are supposed to last for 8 hours. They were wiped out in 2 hours.
What do you mean wiped out?
They were wiped out. The coins had gone within 2 hours. People sat down in the machines from the second it opened. There were 3 people at every slot machines. And
waiting online to play?
Yeah, at every machine, there was 3 people. And nobody's ever seen action like this.
So it
the
couldn't
tables,
handle it?
look at the tables. The tables, every table, we have tremendous numbers of high rollers coming to my places in Atlantic City. Every table was taken. Every seat was taken. Nobody's ever seen it. On a Monday morning in the rain, you couldn't get into the casino. Every slot, every...
So what, it blew out the slots, literally?
They blew apart. We had machines
Would
that,
be like too much
they were,
wire?
they were
Fuse?
virtually on fire.
Simply
It was
put,
like a fuse or like a fire. A machine is a machine. We had people playing so hard and so fast, and you couldn't count the money. You couldn't count the money coming in. You couldn't put the money back into the machines because we have change machines. Every slot machine virtually has a change machine. You couldn't get through the crowds to put the change in. So we have people with big, strong arms and big wheels, you know, and they're carrying the money to put in the change machines. You couldn't get it through the crowds. Nobody's ever seen anything like this.
So where are we now? First, are they now back in?
Well, no, it's fully in operation, and it's doing great. I mean, it was somebody even accused that of being a promotion. Just to show you, they said that Trump turned off the slot machines for the publicity. These are sick people. Just so you understand. Lots of articles that I did that as a publicity stunt because the next day it was slot machines on fire, the crowds, the this, the that.
Did you fire people over this?
I had a choice who I wanted to run this hotel.
Your hotel.
I listened to other people. I decided to listen to other people for the first time in my life. The choice turned out to be what I thought. We had a Type C personality running the hotel. I've never made money in my life with a Type C personality.
What's a Type C?
Type C is low key. You know, people that tend to fall asleep. Well, B is low key, but C is very low key. You know? He was intellectually great. He has 195 IQ, but he was a Type C personality. So people tended to drowse away, you know. And it just wasn't for me. So I put the man that I wanted to run it, and he's doing a great job. I mean, I had no doubt. But other people wanted this man. I try and be as much of a corporate man as I can. It doesn't work for me very often. But this time I really said, great, my people wanted this man. I went along with it. I was very proud. And look what happens.
How did this man rise to the top, though? How did he...
He rises. People rise to the top. Sometimes they get there. He's a good man, by the way. He's a good man. He's a nice man. You need energy. You know, in life, you need energy as well as brains. Brains is always number one, but you need energy. And if you don't have drive, enthusiasm, energy, I know so many people. I have friends that went to the Wharton School with me. These guys have 195 IQ, but they don't quite have the energy level. If you don't have the energy level, write it off.
Now, at Wharton School, supposing they'd given a term paper and said, all right, here's what happens to a guy. He has a major divorce problem, a lot of money, other women are mentioned, and business doubles. Can you write this as a term paper? Would this be a good management paper?
It wouldn't be your typical management paper. I don't think it's ever been covered at the Wharton School. In all fairness. They have other scenarios that they cover. I don't think they cover this one. Hey, this whole chain of events has been amazing, in a sense. It's been amazing.
Has it done
and it's
anything?
very unfair. It's very sad because there's nothing like great promotion. I love great promotion, but I don't want great promotion on the back of a divorce, which is a negative thing. I want great promotion because it's great promotion. I want great promotion for the building itself.
Had you not had that tragic helicopter accident killing 3 key personnel, this would have been maybe different too, right? I mean, they would have...
Well, they were really friends of mine, and it wouldn't have affected from a business standpoint because I have the best people working for me, and other than the one in particular manager, I mean, I have the best people working for me. I always have had. I believe in it. Or I couldn't do all the things I do. I mean, I can't have the great airline. I can't have this. I can't have that. I can't have all the hotels because I think now I'm one of the biggest hotel companies in the world, and I'm young, and I couldn't do that just by myself by working long hours. You just can't. But I'll tell you what it did affect. It really affected me on a personal basis. it showed me once again how fragile life is. These were three fantastic people. Two of them had among the best marriages I've ever seen. One of them had 8 children, and the other one had 2. One was just getting married, the third. These were tremendous people. You have to understand, they left my office, and they said, we'll call you in an hour. And they were supposed to take my helicopter, but they didn't want to wait for 2 hours because mine was coming back. So they rented a helicopter from an outside company that probably didn't know what they were doing and gone. Now, they call me, and they say to me, walking out of the office waving, we'll see you in an hour, we'll call you in an hour, do you want to come? And I'm almost saying yes, and I just decided I was too busy. You know, fortunately, I was doing something where I was busy. But they said, we'll call you in an hour. And then I get a call from one of the secretaries, Mr. Trump, they never showed up. Could you explain? Do you know where they landed? And you don't even think about it. You say, well, I'm sure they landed at maybe a different airport. They landed on the roof of one of the buildings where we have heliports on all the buildings. And then all of a sudden you get a call from the police saying, Mr. Trump, I'm sorry to inform you. And it is a shocker. But it showed me how fragile life is. And I think to a certain extent, it cheapened life a little bit for me, because these are three incredible people.
You mean to go that easy?
Well, it can have two effects. You can cherish life more because of it, or it can have the tendency to cheapen it. And unfortunately, it cheapened it a little bit for me, because these were three incredible people to die like this, young, attractive, wonderful, in the prime of their careers. And they were great guys.
Yeah, they were. I knew them, they were great guys. You were supposed to go on that plane, true?
I was going to go from the standpoint that they said, you want to come down with us? And I said, I think so, but maybe I'm just too busy. I mean, I was that close. It would have been like a 50-50 deal. So in a sense, I got lucky, but I will tell you, they were really great people.
We'll be right back with Donald Trump from the Taj Mahal after this. How do you react to how you are?
It's funny, I get along great with people when I know them. A lot of people that don't know me, they think he's a maniac flamethrower, he rants, he raves and all, and I don't. I mean, I hope I project that I don't. It's very interesting. I have an ego, but all people that are successful have an ego. I've never met a successful person that didn't have an ego. Everybody, you have an ego. Frank Sinatra, I saw him on your show, huge ego. Any successful person has to have an ego. So I don't see anything wrong with having an ego, but I think the image is of people that don't know that he's a flamethrower, that, you know, ranting, raving, lunatic, crazy, wild. And I don't think it's me. I mean, I hope it's not me. If it is, I want to immediately go for some help.
One thing I haven't seen you comment on is Ivana going into business with Japanese money. Now, when I read that, if that's true, some sportswear business, I had to say, Donald had to say, whoa, this could be the final blow. I don't like Japanese money.
Yeah, I just hope she does well at whatever she does.
Is there Japanese money involved?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
You don't know?
Really, I don't know. She's looking at different opportunities for herself. You know, this has made Ivana a figure and a popular figure, and I'm happy about that. I hope she does well. I really hope she does well, whatever she does.
Would you be bothered if it were Japanese money?
I have tremendous respect for the Japanese, and just tremendous respect. I had not heard that it's Japanese money. I mean, you're telling me
that was
now
printed
for the first
somewhere.
time. All the news that's fit to print. I mean, in all fairness, I don't know. I really don't know. I'd have to look at it. I'd be only bothered. I think I'd be more bothered if she wasn't going to make a good deal for herself, because I'd like to see her do well.
Any Japanese money in your investments?
We have financing, Japanese financing. We have even this building. I mean, the Japanese came over, they bought the bonds in many cases for the Taj Mahal. This building is built with bonds, mortgage bonds, and Japanese own some of the bonds, not all of the bonds by any means, but they own some of the bonds. They're very happy with it. They know a good investment. But I do business with the Japanese. You have to understand, Larry, I have great respect. When these people come over and beat the hell out of our politicians and outsmart them from day one, now what's happening? They buy Rockefeller Center, and there's tremendous resentment from them coming in. So now the dollar starts going up and the yen starts going down. So what are they doing? They figure they can't come back in and buy too much because there's too much backlash. So now they're going to build up their manufacturing again, get all the dollars back. Now, Caterpillar Tractor will tell you it's very tough versus a year ago to sell tractors, because the dollar has gone up and the yen has gone down. That's given the Japanese tremendous advantages. Yeah. So they really have called every shot. They are so smart. I look at their negotiators. I say, look at those guys. These are smart, trained, tough guys. I mean, in all fairness, we need, now I know Bob Mossbacher, and he's a good guy, and I know other people, and they're good guys, and I really think that perhaps we're now equipped to do something. But I've watched over the years as the Japanese, and I think Bob is going to do a good job.
Secretary of Commerce.
Correct. I've watched over the years, I've watched this country being picked apart where we have $200 billion deficits, and they're making money. That's the greatest money machine ever created, Japan. We circle our ships and we defend Japan for nothing. Why? Why are we defending? We're a debtor nation. Why are we defending Japan for nothing?
So you're not, in a sense, knocking them. You're knocking our politics.
I think, hey, I'm not only not knocking them, I take my hat off to them. I think it's fantastic what they've been able to do. They sell their cars, they have VCRs. Try selling a car in Japan. First of all, their people wouldn't buy it because it's an American product, okay? So their people, they're very nationalistic. But beyond the people, in a sense, more importantly, you won't be able to do it. Toys R Us is having a hard time opening a store in Japan, and yet they can come and buy our brokerage houses, our great real estate, everything. There's such an incredible problem with, and I'm talking about the Japanese. Look at West Germany, look at Saudi Arabia, look, you want to see a lifestyle? Look at Saudi Arabia. Their middle class lives better than our wealthy people. If you really look at it, it's disgraceful.
We'll be right back with Donald Trump. We'll try to draw him out a little more, folks. Having a difficult time here. First, this.
I think he's doing a great job. I think he's going to be a great president. And they talked about Reagan being the great communicator. I think George Bush is the great communicator. If you watch him, I think he's going to be a great president.
Going to be?
Well, he's just too early, but I think he's going to be. I think he's made some very good moves.
Did I read somewhere you thought Gorbachev would not last?
I predicted a long while ago, and I got a lot of really heat on it, that Gorbachev would be, essentially that Russia was going to break up, and now I'm saying it much more strongly. I mean, now a lot of people are saying that, but I did an interview for, of all places, Playboy, and this was really done about 6 months ago, and I said I think that Gorbachev is going to be out and that Russia is going to disintegrate, and now I say it much more strongly because it looks like that's happening.
Atlantic City, up or down?
I think it's going to be dynamite.
Dynamite?
We have a very, very great governor in New Jersey named Jim Florio, and I think that he is going to turn Atlantic City around so that you're going to see some real improvement. You have to understand, Atlantic City 10 years ago was an absolute slum. Now you'll have $1 billion building rising out of a slum. It's a very interesting dichotomy. But Jim Florio is going to do some job. I really believe strongly in Jim Florio.
This place and its nut. We keep reading you have an impossible nut to meet. What do you have to take in every day?
I have to win about $1 million a day, and not only is it not impossible, Trump Plaza is the #1 hotel in Atlantic City. We won $305 million. Trump last year, we beat out Caesars, beat out everybody. Trump Plaza does numbers which are fine in terms of this place, or almost fine in terms of this place, and it's 1/3 the size, one half the casino and about 1/3 the size.
But you need more people. You don't want people leaving Trump Plaza to come play here.
Yeah, but Trump Plaza is going to hold its own. Trump Plaza does so well that if it went down a little bit, somebody said, oh, but Trump Plaza is going to go down. Who cares? So it goes down a little bit. It's not going to go down very much. Trump Castle is a big success, as you know, and Trump Castle is likewise going to continue to be. I think the Taj Mahal has already elevated Atlantic City with all of the promotion, all of the publicity, and more importantly, with the greatness of the building itself. You go down on a Thursday morning, and you look at the slot, every table is full, every slot machine is full. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. I will do numbers here, I believe, that will never be topped. I mean, I think we're breaking already every
Better
record.
than anything in Vegas?
Well, there's no way of Vegas competing from the standpoint...
They can't because they don't
have the people. They don't have as many people. We have New York, Philadelphia, Washington, etc., so we have more people. But there's no building in Las Vegas that can even come close to competing with the Taj Mahal. Steve Wynn is a friend of mine, and he built the Mirage, and people that have seen the Mirage and come over here and seen the Taj Mahal say there's no contest. The Taj Mahal is just beyond anything that they have in Las Vegas. I want to go to Las Vegas, and I want to do something great in Las Vegas.
You do?
Well, that's probably going to be one of my next moves.
You're going to build a hotel?
I think so.
Or buy an existing or build?
I'm waiting for things to cool off in Las Vegas. It's a great place. It's doing well, and I guess I'm just sort of waiting to see what happens with the onslaught of new buildings.
Trump goes west. Have you bought the Ambassador in L.A.?
I own the Ambassador Hotel with a group of friends, and we're going to be doing something dramatic, and we're going to be announcing something in Los Angeles over the next 2 or 3 months.
And Las Vegas, definite, not when,
well,
not saying when, but definite.
I mean, of course, I've been saying that for 5 or 6 years with Las Vegas. You need the right niche, you need the right timing. I'm looking for the right opportunity, and that probably is next.
How many people work for you?
Well, I'd say probably close to 30,000 people. Just in this building alone, we have 7,500 people, and you know, it's really. And then if you go into the indirect number of people, it's a lot of people, and it's one of the things that makes me feel great because so many people do work for me.
Have you bought the Bonwit Teller store at
Yes.
Trump Tower?
Yes.
You own that store.
I bought it, and I'm going to be leasing it out to whether it's Tiffany or Cartier or this or that. We have a lot of different people that want it. We're talking to a lot of different customers. I bought out the lease. Bonwit Teller was a lousy store. They didn't do a good job. They made a lot of money in Trump Tower, but the chain itself throughout the country was not doing well. I didn't consider them an asset for Trump Tower. Trump Tower does an incredible business. People love it. And what I did is bought out the lease. I owned the store already, but they had 14 years left on a lease, and I bought the lease because I'm going to release that store now to perhaps Tiffany or perhaps Chanel or perhaps somebody else, but we have a lot of people that want it. I didn't consider them an asset for Trump Tower. Trump Tower does an incredible business. People love it. And what I did is bought out the lease. I owned the store already, but they had 14 years left on a lease, and I bought the lease because I'm going to release that store now to perhaps Tiffany or perhaps Chanel or perhaps somebody else, but we have a lot of people that want it.
We'll be back with our remaining moments with Donald Trump right after this. To Atlantic City, will you have an airport that has shops and bustling?
Well, under Jim Florio, the governor, I believe that you're going to see a new airport. Atlantic City desperately, people coming in from Boston, they desperately want to come to Atlantic City, and basically it's difficult. It's really difficult. And Atlantic City is the #1 tourist place in the United States. I don't know the world, the United States. It did 36 million visitors last year. New York City was second at 18 million. So, I mean, we're talking huge numbers.
Is the Taj Mahal getting well booked in advance? Rooms?
We are so booked right now, and beyond booked. I mean, the conventions are all coming in because we have a tremendous arena. We named the arena after Mark Edis, who was one of the young men killed in the helicopter accident.
Yeah.
And we have a fabulous arena. We have beautiful ballrooms. All of the convention space is booked, the rooms are booked, and the casinos are packed. The people love it. The architectural reviews of the Taj have been fantastic, as you know, and I'm just really happy with it.
How old are you now?
43.
How do you assess this? Where are you?
I don't really understand it. I mean, it happened quickly, and I love it because I love what I do.
So you're happy?
I'm happy. I don't consider myself happy or sad. I actually consider myself content. I think that I'm a content person. I'm satisfied with what I've done. I love what I've achieved. I don't really think of myself as being happy or sad. I don't have enough time to think about it, which is probably a positive thing, but I am certainly somebody that's content.
Who must go on to other things. There must be the West Side, there must be ambassadors, there must be other things.
Probably who must go on to other things, just in terms of this. I mean, I think I must go on. I think that's a personality. That's in the genes. I must go on to other things, yes.
Do you think we'll have this whole divorce thing settled in this year?
Well, I hope so. I mean, I look at Ivana as somebody that's very special to me. This is the mother of my children, and she will always be special to me. She's a special woman. She will always be special to me, for a lot of reasons. I mean, really for a lot of reasons.
Do you think it'll be?
I hope so. I mean, you know, the problem is attorneys get involved, and attorneys want to make their fees, and they want to try and get some headlines for themselves, and they want to become famous when nobody ever heard of them before. So who the hell knows? I mean, we'll see what happens. I hope so for Ivana.
Thanks for a terrific hour, Donald.
It was great. Thank you.
Donald Trump. We're at Taj Mahal in Atlantic City. Thanks for joining us on Larry King Live. Good night.
For a transcript, call